Back with Indian Open right here on Bloomberg Quint. It's very pertinent to talk about what's happening to the consumption space and to speak to industry leaders from various segments to try and figure out how they are feeling about the sentiment right now. Bajaj Electricals is one such company. The revenue from the power business nearly tripled in Q3 from the year ago period, stands tall to the tepid growth seen in the consumer segment by and large. Companies implementing its retail reach program to revive consumer sales as well. But, as I said, on the indications of a slowdown in consumption, what's the strategy going forward? Let's ask the Chairman and Managing Director, Mr. Shekhar Bajaj, who joins us on the show. Mr. Bajaj, so good having you. Thanks much for joining in. It's very pertinent to get views from industry captains about how the sentiment is shaping up in light of all of this confusion that exists. So, please tell us, before we talk about Bajaj Electricals, is the sentiment in the consumption space coming off a little bit? The factors could be many, but is it coming off?
I don't think that we are finding such a slowdown as is being stated, because basically the distribution is very critical, and as our distribution has now reached a level where we are in a position to make available our goods across the country. We are covering almost 600 states, 600 districts, and about 200,000 outlets on a weekly basis. So because of that, the demand is something which is not slowing down for us. So we are looking at a growth of 20-25% should continue in our retail space in the coming period also.
Sir, would it be true only for you because you are doing some company-specific things, you have the benefit of some orders that have come in from the government side as well, and therefore that may be helping? But what about conversations that you have with some of your peer groups, not just in the business that you are in, but across the spectrum? Are people talking about some slowing off, some bit of down trading at all?
See, there are two different businesses of ours. So I was talking about our consumer business because that's what you had asked me. So consumer business is something where we are growing faster than our competitors, because we have implemented this range and reach expansion plan, which is something which required us to take a lot of beating in the last 2 years. But now the benefit is coming because the distribution is in place. We are not dumping materials, the prices are stable. And therefore the whole idea of a retailer is he's the one who decides what to sell. And therefore he looks at his return on investment, his return on capital employed. So he looks at the ROI for him with Bajaj is clearly much better than it is available with other competitors. That's why he pushes more for selling Bajaj product.
Mr. Bajaj, just in continuation with your last answer and your retail reach expansion program, which you had kick-started in FY16, the last few quarters have actually not seen a very great impact in terms of the primary sales via this particular touch point. Is there a bigger plan in place for the reach here?
No, I think now we have to not further expand in terms of numbers, but we have to get into the depth. That means if in a particular shop we are having 10% of their sale is of Bajaj product, can that be increased to 20%? Can we make sure that they buy on a regular basis our products rather than buying it once a month? We want them to keep very low inventories. Earlier they was to keep about 2 months inventories. We are saying, why do you want to keep more than 15 days inventory so that they can rotate their money 24 times instead of only rotating 6 times. So even with a 3% margins, they will be able to make a 50 to 75% type of return on investment. So that is our whole game plan, that each one must feel that it makes sense only for them to sell more and more Bajaj product rather than selling our competitors. And that's what is slowly happening. And unless others also give them a better ROI, the retailer is the one, when you go to buy in a shop, he says, you buy any one which you want, but I would recommend such and such brand. And that's what most of us, when we go and buy in a shop, we always do that. And that is what I think we are going to benefit out of that.
And from the company standpoint also, it's a better supply chain management if this model works fine?
Yeah, actually the supply chain is the most critical. So first stage was when we told people to reduce the inventory level from 2 months to 15 days. Unless we had a good replenishment model that as soon as they sold off, it should be replenished within 4 to 5 days. If that is not done, then this whole scheme would go into a fiasco, because no retailer wants to lose sales because he doesn't have stocks. So the replenishment was something which has been done very well. They've got the confidence that yes, if anything gets sold, they will get replenished within 4 or 5 days. That's why they've reduced their inventories. So that supply chain is the most critical. I agree absolutely that without supply chain, if you just reduce the inventory, you lose out sales yourself also and your retailer also, and you lose confidence in you.
Right. So let's now talk about the growth potential of both the segments, which is the consumer segment and the E&P segment. A lot of reports are suggesting that growth of about 20.4% CAGR, which you have been clocking in from FY18 to FY20, is something that you will likely carry forward even in the lighting and consumer durable business as well. Is that a realistic number? And there could be a turnaround and improvement in the EBIT margins as well, which could see an expansion from 7% to 9%.
Over a period of 2 years, because basically even if our margins don't go up, because of the growth in sales, and our overheads will not go up to that same speed, so our percentage of fixed cost keeps coming down, and therefore our EBIT margins or EBITDA margins will go up by 1% per year in the next few years. Every year we should grow by 1%. And that's why what you're saying is from a level of 6.5–7% this year, it may go up to 8%, 9% over a period of next 2 to 3 years.
This is just the consumer business?
This is only consumer business I'm discussing. As far as EPC business is concerned, it's very different. EPC business, we got a very big order. Because of that, there's a spike in the growth. We are not really interested that EPC business should expand more than our consumer business. So for the next year, we will, our expectation is the EPC business, this year we are expecting, now the figure is around 2,800 we have done in the consumer business, around 3,800 crores we've done in the, 3,600 crores we've done in the EPC business. Our expectation next year, the EPC business will come down and the consumer business will be, so next year the consumer business will be higher than the EPC business, because this UP project which we have taken will be mostly completed by next year.
You do not believe, sir, that some of the other states might also envisage giving up such large projects? My question is, if the opportunity presents itself, would you still shun it off because you consciously want to scale down the EPC business?
Absolutely. We've already taken a view that in any case the EPC business has a certain amount of risk. There's a certain amount of working capital which is blocked up in that, and therefore it should not be normally more than 50% of our turnover should not be our EPC, including luminaires business should not be, that is B2B business should not be more than 50%. If it's lower, no issue at all. So next year, as I said, that we are expecting maybe 3,500 crores will come out of our consumer business. EPC business maybe around 3,200 crores, which is absolutely acceptable. There is no problem at all. And if there's bigger business, we will not take it, because the risks and the money involved is so high, so it's just not worth it, because there are so many uncertainties which come in. So therefore, but because it is there to make money, as long as it's giving us money and it gives you a good return on capital employed, we'll continue to be in that business. But if it starts losing money, we will stop it. There's no, in our consumer business, we will continue. That's our core business, and that will continue. And for that, we are putting all the effort to create more and more demand.
Got that. Mr. Bajaj.
And new products.
Got that. It was a real pleasure chatting with you, sir. Thanks very much for joining us and highlighting those aspects for Bajaj Electricals there. So consciously looking at scaling down the EPC business and focusing more on the consumer business.
That's interesting. Just quick check on Bajaj Electricals, the stock, and then on Vodafone Idea, the stock. The two names that we're talking to. Bajaj Electricals 545, flattest in the session. Vodafone Idea, the rights issue opens today.